describe in detail the process of electronic recycling. I have chosen to talk about electronic recycling because I feel that there is a need to educate people around the world about the ways they can recycle and reuse electronic waste. Did you know that between 2006 and 2007, Australians generated almost 48 million tonnes of waste and only 52% was recycled? Do you want our planet to be trashed with rubbish and waste? An electronic product makes its way from the purchase point to the customer's home. This can be a computer, monitor, DVD player, or any electronic device. Over the years, the product becomes used and slows down. Did you know that the typical Australian business replaces their computer hardware every 3 years? Also, new computers that are sold are often much more efficient and offer more features and speed. When you buy the product, you have the decision on what to do with the old device. If you were to throw it away into regular trash, it would simply end up in landfill, and the valuable materials inside it would not be taken advantage of. If he or she chooses to recycle the product, it will be dismantled and recycled to something different, such as fence posts. Alternatively, it could be refurbished. That means that if your computer is not too old, it can be reused by people who cannot afford new computers. If you live in the North Shore, you can drop off your e-waste to the Kimbriki Resource Recovery Centre. They are open 7 days a week, and it is completely free of charge. And if you want, you can hand in up to 15 items. However, there is some waste that they do not accept as electronics. Microwaves, ovens, fridges, etc. that use mainly metal are not classified as electric and will be taken to a metal recycling plant. Only items that contain mainly computer circuits and boards will be taken to an electronic recycling plant. Kimbriki, this is the landfill site. This is basically where all the non-recyclables go. This is where you would drop off your computer appliances after they have been used. So you can drop off large TVs, full PCs, pretty much any computer appliance really. Kimbriki then sends the electronic device to the MRI. The MRI has been set up in Australia to process e-waste. The MRI will firstly test the device to see if it can be refurbished and sent to places where such technology cannot be afforded. But if it is not in a stable condition, it will be dismantled. If it is a PC, they will dismantle the computer circuits from the case. The case will be recycled into a combination of plastic and metal. The plastic will most likely be turned into posts and pellets. The metal will be traded within Australia. Most old computers still use a CRT monitor that contains glass and plastic. The glass is converted into glass fiber for insulation. The remaining circuits and boards will be sent to Korea, where facilities are present. The Australian government has created the National Television and Computer Recycling Scheme to try and reduce the impact of e-waste. A co-regulatory arrangement is in charge of taking all the recyclable goods from a place such as Kimbriki and sending them to a recycling plant. An example of a co-regulatory arrangement is a scheme between the Australian company called MRI and a number of importers and manufacturers of computers, including Dell and Apple. They receive electronic waste from Kimbriki and from people. The co-regulatory arrangement has to create a plan on what they are going to do with their e-waste. Large companies are known as liable parties. They then have to fund the co-regulatory arrangement so that they can send the e-waste to a recycling plant. Co-regulatory arrangements sometimes host collection services. The co-regulatory arrangement is required to tell the government who their members are. The government then sees who has imported goods and whether they have been involved in a co-regulatory arrangement. If the liable party doesn't comply with the co-regulatory arrangement plan, they will be given a warning. If they continue to breach the plan's requirement, they will be legally charged. A non-profit business that is contributing to the recycling of e-waste is Computer Bank. Computer Bank's branch is available for e-waste drop-off 7 days a week. When they take the computer, they will test it and see if it is able to be refurbished. If it is, they will wipe the hard drive and then sell it for a very, very low price, or give it to people who cannot afford computers. If it is not able to be refurbished, it will be recycled following the same method as MRI. Apple is another large importer that has a co-regulatory arrangement with MRI. In July this year, Apple started a trade-in deal where you can trade in your old iPhone 4, 4S, or 5 and get $250 off the new iPhone 6. These devices, depending on their condition, are refurbished, if in good condition, and recycled if not in good condition. The reuse and recycling scheme is part of Apple's efforts to improve its green credentials. Apple also runs a free recycling program for old mobile phones, computer, and monitors, regardless of the manufacturer. In conclusion, the amount of electronic waste that has ended up in landfill has severely decreased, thanks to recycling schemes set up by the Australian government, such as the National Television and Computer Recycling Scheme. The scheme has nearly achieved its goal, in which 80% of all electronic waste is recycled. Thank you for listening to my ILA, and I hope the information I have presented has educated you about the method used for electronic recycling, and how we can decrease the amount of e-waste ending up in landfill.